enlightening, inspirational, powerfully refining, and unapologetically controversial. Conversations with the Royal Empress. The entire world knows the secret of who you are. Now is the time to step into your queendom and become the Royal Empress that you're meant to be. One woman at a time. Conversations with the Royal Empress. Now Akilah, she's the analytical Empress. Hakeemah, she's the Empress that will challenge you. Now, straighten up your crown and be elevated through conversations. Conversations with the Royal Empress.
Welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Royal Empress. This is Akilah. And joining me as always is my fellow co-host, Dr. Hakeemah.
Peace and blessings, my sisters.
The last time we talked about making sure that our mental and spiritual health was in order. But today we want to talk about the physical, and that's just as important. So today we're discussing ways to build and maintain a healthy immune system. And joining us to shed light on this subject are two of our former guests, also fan favorites. And we have Khetnu Nefer and Tanita Fadyeyola. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome, greetings.
Thank you.
We were talking before we even started the show about things that are going on in terms of building our immune system and keeping ourselves healthy. And so if you guys could just give us something briefly about your philosophy as it pertains to maintaining optimal health right now. And we can start with you, Khetnu.
Thank you. So basically just going back to old school thought processes and just getting rest, staying hydrated, eating clean, healthy foods. It's just that simple. Like, that's just across the board. And then when you talk about the hygiene portion of washing your hands and sanitizing, that kind of stuff, it's just simple, basic things for me. That's all that we're being reminded of, is to keep it simple.
Yep, I agree. Keeping it simple is where it is, and we know that it's not always that simple. Sometimes we are conditioned, and we live in a culture where sweets and stuff we love our sweets, our ice creams, our dairies, our all these other things, candies. That's one of my weaknesses. And really, so when we talk about physical and dealing with what we're dealing with now, fasting to me is one of the most important things we can do for our physical. Is really just focus on fasting from the things that we know are not good for us right now. Fasting from dairy right now, fasting from all that junk, refined sugars and things like that, candy and things like that. Fasting from fried foods. That's one of my favorites. Even if it's a fried vegetable, so those are the things I think are most important when we come to, handling our physical, is starting with the basics, like Kat said, and letting go of those things that we know that just aren't good for us.
So now both of you work in professions, basically, that promote this. I know, Khetnu, you are an herbalist. Tanita, you dabble too. Because we're hearing all sorts of things out there right now. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, this works for this. But some things are okay, some things are not, right? So, like, what kind of herbal remedies are there that we could be using right now to help with our immune system?
Like I said, some of the old school things that some of us have gotten away from, garlic is one of them. putting garlic in everything, everything that you can. You can make a garlic honey. You know, it's just simple stuff. What else? Turmeric, you know, is really good as well. You could do the fresh turmeric root. You could do turmeric powder. You could make what they call golden milk with the turmeric. You do want to add some black pepper to that to activate the anti-inflammatory properties in the turmeric. Eating green leafy vegetables. You know, plants are herbs. So, you know, just incorporating the green leafy vegetables so that you are getting the chlorophyll, because there's protein in them as well. So just helping to clean up the diet. And like Tanita said earlier, is not having the refined sugars, because that is a drug and it compromises the immune system. So just being mindful of those things. But those are some simple, accessible herbs that are available to everyone at this time, and you could just get them from the grocery store. One other herb that I want to mention is astragalus, and that is really good for building up the immune system. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. And it's one of the ones, everybody hearing about elderberry and echinacea, and they have been utilized too much now. So something that most people don't know about is astragalus, and they could actually incorporate that into their wellness toolbox.
Yes to all of that. I was just gonna say, like, everybody's on this super duper elderberry kick, and elderberry is great. It's really great as, you know, prevention and things like that. I've been actually stayed away from elderberry right now because it's sweet and sugary, and even our fruit sugars are can not be the best for us right now, depending on where our body is at this time, where the pH balance of our body is, and most of us don't know that. Drinking some basic is drinking your water like you should, adding some lemons to your water to try to alkaline help alkaline your body. Also, one of the big ones that people leave out is thyme. The herb thyme. Thyme is high in vitamin C. It has more vitamin C than oranges, and it boosts up the immune system. It also has a little. It's a kick butt. I ain't cussing, but it's a kick butt herb when it comes to your respiratory system, your lungs, and keeping your sinuses, your lungs, your throat healthy. And those are the areas that are most affected by viruses, period. We're talking about cold virus. Almost all of us have the cold virus. We're talking about the coronavirus, there's not a COVID-19. A lot of us already had a coronavirus or a flu, and those things help it as well. Oregano, boom, that's the big one. Once it really hit, oregano can kill just about anything. We like these good, tasty herbs like elderberry, and it's great, and echinacea, and it's great. But the herbs are really, really going to kick the butt of these viruses at this time, and this flu and those different things. All those herbs being like, they don't taste that good, right? But it ain't about tasting good. It's about working. And our food is our medicine. Our medicine is our food, just like Kat said. So those are the things that I go with when I'm talking about that. And astragalus is excellent as well.
You know, those are excellent ones, but I'm gonna tell you what I've been doing, right? It's funny because I've been on this matcha green tea tip for a minute, like for months. And so taking that, I felt so much stronger. I felt good. And then on top of that, I've been putting shungite in my water. And my husband was telling me, you don't need to use that. You don't need to use that. You don't need to use that. And he tested it and said the pH level on this water is off the chain. So now every time it's in my water, he drinking it. I'm like, at least fill my water back up. You know what I'm saying? But I got some licorice tea because I read that it was good for respiratory health. And I got that. And I need it since I'm an essential employee. I've been taking some mangista powder, and that's good for the lymphatic system and immune system. And I've been taking that. Oh man, I've been doing apples, pineapples, vegetables. My husband had me take some hydrogen peroxide today. He's like, that would kill any virus in your intestinal system. But he said, don't overdo it because it's powerful. I think he gave me like half a teaspoon and mixed it with like 2 ounces of water. And he said, you'll be good for a minute. And then, this is something that a lot of people sleep on, colloidal silver. Like I've been doing a lot of reading up on that, and I've been spraying I have a spray, so I put a little bit in my nostrils and my ears just because it supposedly kills the infection on contact. So those are just things I've been doing extra only because of the fact that where I work at. But if I was at home, I probably would minimize half of that. But because just trying to make sure, because I'm surrounded by so much, I had to make sure that my system's super strong. But a lot of that has been over a course of time. It's not like in the last couple of weeks, but over a course of time.
Also, get your beans in. The studies have been showing that zinc is powerful against fighting these viruses that are out here. This one in particular, zinc. And zinc can be harsh on the body if you're taking it as a supplement. So I always tell people, be mindful, be careful. It can make you nauseous and things like that. But if you get it through your food, you're eating those beans, those legumes, chickpeas, make you some hummus, find some really great creative ways to eat the beans, make you some bean pies, make you some bean stew.
That's right, that navy bean is powerful.
Come on. That's what get that zinc in your body.
That's exactly what I was thinking about, is that I've probably had navy bean soup almost every day for the last few weeks. But when you were talking, I was noticing how people were posting recipes, and I'm just like, oh, okay. But when you were just talking about, I put thyme and oregano in my soup. That's like a staple for me. And so sometimes people go in their cabinets and they don't even have basic herbs that they even cook with. But I cook with this stuff on a regular and consistent basis. So it's just a part of what you do. And I was just telling somebody the other day, I'm like, you don't have to use some of these. Like somebody had mentioned putting, I can't pronounce it. I think it's bouillon cubes or whatever they are.
Oh, yeah, bouillon cubes.
Yeah. And they were putting that in some food. And I said, do you know how much sodium is in one cube? It's like 1,100 milligrams. I said, so you need to toy around with the herbs and spices to come up with the flavor that you're looking for. So that you're not putting that in your system. This is not the time to increase the sodium levels for you, particularly because you're not trying to raise your blood pressure and to make yourself unhealthy. So while we're eating things that we say are healthy for people, we also need to keep in mind that you don't add things to take away the health benefits of what you're eating. What you want to do is enhance what's already good for you with other things that are good for you. And, that's kind of just when you guys were talking about that, I was just thinking about that whole thing and just basically how I cook in general. So all of that stuff is in my cabinet.
Oh, you got Italian seasoning. That I think all of what you all mentioned is an Italian seasoning.
Yeah. People sleep on the culinary herbs. They don't think they have as much fortitude as the medicinal herbs, but they're all medicinal. So they and especially in the African American community, we think, more is more. And so they see these as more powerful, but they're not realizing that these culinary herbs are just as powerful as astragalus or, the other things that we mentioned. So yeah, the culinary herbs is your first medicine cabinet, and using that as your first medicine cabinet and helping to enhance your food, which is, again, your first medicine in the first place. Like Tanita said, the diet is your first medicine. And so enhancing your foods with the culinary herbs is so vital. And then you supplement with the elderberries and all the other stuff, so that should be your last resort. So your culinary herbs are your first line of defense, and along with your foods.
Absolutely. And this is a good time to really research what's in your cabinet. A lot of times we just think that we're using things for just, to eat, for it to taste good. But a lot of them came from the root of it came from the healing that it provides. Black pepper and its oil actually is really, really very good for nausea when you're feeling nauseous. Salt was primarily used to preserve our foods before we had refrigerators and things like that. It really wasn't made for us to be over seasoning our foods. Really, salt wasn't, a seasoning. It was there to preserve. And so, your black peppers, your basil, I made a soup last week, man. It was beat. I had the house smelling up. It was like basil and celery and carrots and like everything, spinach, and it was so good. Thyme and arugula, and my kids they ate that thing up. And then you can do that. You could do that with solids. Your peppers, your yellow peppers are high in vitamin C. Man, we can just have so many foods out there. We're so blessed to be able to have access to these vegetables and fruits that heal us.
You know what's so powerful? It's as we were naming all of these things, and it just made me think of these are weapons in a spiritual war. It's like you a soldier. We don't really we a chemist in the kitchen, us women are. We don't realize that we can create life or we can destroy life in our kitchen. And as we were listening, I said, man, these some weapons to fight against what's not good. And man, we dropping some bombs on this one. I'm excited. You know what I mean? But I think it was one you mentioned. One that's very powerful to add to what you were saying is cinnamon. I was just reading up on that. Oh my God, that's powerful, and that's one we take for granted. So it's so right when you say we got all this stuff in our cabinets, and we don't really understand what is great. And sometimes the best spices that we have or could use for our health, we got it way in the back of in the corner of our spice cabinet because we ain't using it.
Girl, you just reminded me. Oh my goodness, cardamom.
Yes.
Listen, the healing. Listen, you could drop a thing of cardamom oil in my water. That is very great for respiratory. Very good for oh man, come on. Like you said, cinnamon, cardamom, turmeric, cumin. Oh man, so powerful. Study these things that are in your cabinets. We got the time now. We were saying before, I was saying this during one of my movement meditations. I said we always are saying things like, I wish I had more time in the day. Well, you got more time in the day. So get to studying.
Amen. It's so funny because I experiment. When I was saying that I experiment with stuff, so I made some cabbage the other night, and when I was making the cabbage, I was like, oh man, I keep forgetting to write down the stuff when I'm in the kitchen creating new things. But I was looking in my cabinet thinking, okay, how can I make this taste good but also make it healthy? And that was my process last night. So when you mentioned cumin, I actually added some cumin to my to the cabbage last night. And my son came in there and he said, what kind of meat is in here? I said, I don't have any meat in here. He said, well, it smells. And I just started laughing. I was like, oh, that was the cumin. So it kind of gave him so because we have not, well, I don't know about him, but I haven't cooked any meat like in a week. So just kind of getting away from that so much as well. Not saying that you have, because I'm not a vegan and I'm not a vegetarian, but I do take breaks because I think that we have to sometimes remove certain things from our diet temporarily, even if it's just reducing the amount that we take in. So
absolutely. That fast is so important. The idea of fasting, the concept of fasting helps us to focus on right now. Fasting helps you focus. So that right now, if you're trying to focus on the health and the immune system, fast from those things. You don't have to not eat, but fast from those things that are just not healthy for us right now. It's beef, pork, even chicken and turkey right now. Some of those things are harder for our bodies to process than those vegetables and fruits that we're going to process. And like you said, we're trying to put things in our system that are not just good for us. They're providing nutrients, but they're providing a healing at the same time. And that's what we want at this moment.
You know what's also key too, and it's something that I've learned, is when you eat right, you eat less. And you have people that just eating all day long and they're like, man, I'm starving. And I'm like, I said, you might want to consider more nutrients, because the reason why you still hungry is because your body's saying you still haven't given me what I needed. And I've noticed that when I eat better, I eat less. Like I just had some vegetables. I put Brussels sprouts. I put red onions. I had asparagus. I had red peppers. And I'm like, I didn't eat that much and I just feel full. And even feeling full, I feel euphoric. See, if you eating something and you feel tired or you feel like fatigued or you feel just like down, it's probably not good for you. But I'll eat some vegetables and just want to just bounce off the ceilings. So I mean, we got to remember that when you eat healthier, you eat less.
You know what we push that off as? The itis.
Yep. Girl, I got the itis.
Right, we got the itis, and we don't realize is it the itis, or is that we're just not eating what's good for us and what we need in our system to promote optimal health. But that was funny because that's the first thing I thought about was the itis, how we feel after Thanksgiving.
Right, want to sleep all day.
Everybody goes, yeah, it's like, whoa,
We
man.
overate, and we done, overindulged a little bit. That happened. I think also in the physical too, we just have to be gentle with ourselves, and we don't have to overdo it. We just have to be mindful, and that's the best thing we can do. And we're gonna come across our elders, some of our elders who've been eating the way they've been eating for a long time, and they're not going to be so apt to changing how they eat. So if you can slide a little something in there healthier with that in between that neck bone or whatever it is they got to have, then get it in there. So, be gentle. We also don't, I've been seeing that online as well, is that it gets a little bit to be a bit too much. We're preachy and, the whole point is we want people to hear us, and we care about our loved ones, and we want people to be well. And so if we come at it with this angle of we know it all, it's the it all be all, it's this way or it's not going to work, that doesn't work either. We just want to get to optimum health, and we want to get our families to optimum health with us. So, being gentle is very important as well. Give them a little ice cream in between that,
We're not gonna do a spoonful of honey, not sugar.
All right, freak alert, y'all. I gotta say this for the freaks, because I've been seeing so much on social media about there's gonna be a lot of babies made, and my sex drive, what I'm gonna do. But we don't realize that eating right increases your sexual drive. So if that's important to you, that's another motivation to eat right, man. So I mean, I had to say that for the freaks,
Freaks for the people who just loving. How about some good loving?
There you go.
and people who want to create healthy babies.
Absolutely. Because that's important too. I was just going to say that, if you're having a baby right now during this time, it's going to be really important for you to keep your body healthy, keep your environment healthy, to curate a healing environment. But ain't nothing like some healthy love making, some healthy, vital, vibrant love making. So
I think we fool. We talking about, it don't take much if you're eating right to get full. I mean, a lot of information we sharing, it's not a whole lot, but it's got us full, I think.
Yeah. One of the things I did today too was I made a smoothie. And smoothie that I make, and everybody laughs at me when I say that I drink oatmeal smoothies, and they're just like, oh, that sounds so gross. But one of the things with it is the energy that it provides, and it's good to drink before you work out. And part of what we need to do right now too is staying fit during this time. And I know Tanita has been moving on social media with her Move Dance Live. And well, Khetnu, I know you do. Pronounce it? The African dance that you do?
Kukua.
So
but I also walk daily, so I've been doing 3 to 4 miles every day. So it's important, like you said, because our immune systems is also based on our lymph system, and if we need to keep the lymph circulating, and that helps to flush out the toxins and things in the body. So, and it doesn't take much, and that's what people think. You have to be a gym rat, and you have to do all this extensive exercise, and it only takes 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise a day, and you think about that. You do that watching your favorite TV program or while you're scrolling on Facebook, and now everybody has these free classes. Tanita does a free class, and you can do anything, high intensity yoga and all this great stuff. So we really have no excuse right now why, even though we're inside, why we can't be working out and doing what we need to do. So it's very important that we do that, and moving, so vital for the immune system.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what Khetnu said about it doesn't take much, because we tend to think that we have to like get on a whole program. Just start somewhere. Walking is so good for us. It's so good. And I always say if you can walk, then eventually you can dance. And for those of us who are not walking, I've been adding a chair to my movement meditations and affirmations that I do online, because there are some of us who are not able to get out of the chair. And I want them to know that you can still move your upper body. You can move your neck, stretch your from the top of your head, from your crown. We want to be physically activated, keeping our chakras, our energy centers activated. That's so important for our immune system and boosting our immune system. It's important for keeping our mindset from going in a constant state of fear and into more of a state of being cautious. There's a difference between being fearful and being cautious, but more so in being vigilant. We want to move from being fear to being vigilant. And that's so important. And so that's why, in particular, and I'm going to beef myself up here, my brand of movement is important because it's not just about just moving your body, but it's about the message that's there. And it's a good recipe because it got music, you got message, and you got movement. And how do we infuse these important messages into our bodies, these affirmations into our bodies, that we are powerful beings as we exist. We are powerful. We are grateful. Oh my gosh, we need to be grateful. Some people I see are complaining over and over again about being home. Well, my gosh, you get to be home. And some of us still get paid, and maybe that's not happening for all of us, but there's definitely silver linings we can dig out. So that's really important as well. And also, if we want to keep in mind too, is to check in when you're doing all of these different physical workouts, whether it's walking or whatever. Just check in with your doctor and say, is this all right? Check out what the sister's doing. I want to do what she's doing. Check out and make sure, that's cool. Just check out and ask. I do always like to post when I give people little hints about my herbal remedies. I say, listen, get them that caution. This ain't in lieu of you seeking out your doctor and checking back with your doctor, especially if you had some pre-existing things going on. If you're diabetic, it's going to be different, especially if you have an autoimmune disease, because how your immune system functions is going to be different from the rest of us. And some of these things that we're taking to boost our immune system, you have to be mindful of when you have an autoimmune disease, because your immune system is functioning a little bit differently.
It's been a wealth of information that's been put on this podcast for our listeners. I want to get to our challenges. And Khetnu, Tanita, you all don't know, but I added a new title to myself. I'm a spiritual instigator. So I got some challenges, but I'm going to instigate some stuff today.
Yes.
So first challenge is, as was discussed earlier by Tanita, fast. It's a new trend going on now. It's called intermittent fasting. Try it. And you may not be able to go straight to fasting, like going a whole day without eating, but you can do intermittent fasting, because that's like going without eating breakfast and lunch, and then you just eat dinner. So look into that. Also, eat right. As Khetnu said, eat the right foods. That has a lot to do with your physical health. You got to eat right. You can't say I want to be healthy and then want to sit up and eat cheeseburgers all day or fried chicken. That's not going to work. Another thing that was mentioned by Khetnu is get some rest. Sleep is very important. Sometimes we operate on 2-3 hours of sleep, and that's not always good. Another challenge I have for us, and this is a shout out to Tanita. Move, dance, live, baby. Move, dance, and live. Hey, y'all gotta really get in on Tanita's classes, man. I'm telling you, it saved me last week. It sure saved me, gave me some energy and all of that. So thank you, Tanita. This is a shout out to Khetnu. Herbs, herbs, herbs. That's the focus, you all. Herbs are very important. You want to start with learning about herbs? Open up your kitchen cabinet and look at them spices. That's where it all begins. You could be a chemist in the kitchen, or you could be a murderer in the kitchen. If you want to kill yourself and your family, ignore those herbs. But if you want to save yourself and your family, herbs, herbs, herbs. And lastly, and the most important thing, seek medical assistance. We are not doctors. I mean, we know health, but we're not your doctor. We don't know each person's individual health case scenario. So it's important for you to seek assistance from your medical doctor because they know your condition. And that's what we have for you today. I know you said you want more information from Khetnu and Tanita, but you're going to have to go to our Royal Empress page to get information on how you could find out how you could track down Khetnu and Tanita. We're gonna put their web pages up. We're going to put the book links up. We're going to do all of that. So you're going to have to go to Royal Empress page to get that. You can go to royalempress.org or you can go to Royal Empress on Facebook to find out. You can go to Conversations with Royal Empress to find out. Now, any last words from Khetnu or Tanita before we close us out?
Be well, take care of yourself, and do what you need to do. One of my mantras is do what your soul can handle. So know what you need to do for yourself, apply that and live by that, and decrease the fear and increase the intuition, and know what you need to do for yourself to survive not only this, but in life as well.
And mine is always, go with gratitude. See if you can find more space to send a higher vibration, higher love out into the world. And the more we do more for ourselves, the more caping we do for ourselves, caping for love for ourselves, caping for joy, for healing, for wellness for ourselves, we can cape for others. So before you go out there caping, I'm talking to my capers who like to be out there helping everybody. Cape for yourself first, and then we can all be okay. So healing and love and wellness out to everybody out there. I'm sending those vibrations out.
Akilah, you got any last words for our listeners before we close out today?
Be well.
Oh, that was like she was short and sweet. Be well. You already know Akilah right now. Listeners already know you. You're going to make it short and sweet. Again, thank you, Khetnu. Thank you, Tanita. And to our listeners, a big thank you to you, because without you, this would not be possible. So until our next podcast, peace and blessings.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Conversations with the Royal Empress. Tune in next week for another enlightening conversation. For more information on the Royal Empress, please visit the website royalempress.org. You can also follow the Royal Empress on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Conversations with the Royal Empress is a subsidiary of the Royal Empress organization. All rights reserved.